I go to the garden, I want to have another shot at ranunculus. I have realised that some plants don't like being put wherever I want to put them. They like to be in their own conditions. I am going to soak them. Before planting, soak the tubers in cold water for about 6 hours. Is recommended to help them establish more quickly. So I'm going to do that. It also says, ranunculus, like any humus-rich, well-drained soil, although sandy soil is preferred in full sun. I'm going to be putting these in a pot because they only grow 25 centimetres. I had them in pots before. They were shop bought ones. I didn't grow them from a tuber. And they were lovely in a pot. I'm sure they'd be lovely actually in the ground. Like with daffodils and stuff, I'd say they'd be beautiful, but I'm going to try them in a pot. These are the ones I got. They're just, is their name? Persian Buttercup. Persian Buttercup. And I got these in Johnstown Garden Station, but the brand is Taylor's. I'd say you'd still get bulbs now. Well, the garden centres are they're on that Christmas buzz. So I'd say the bulbs might be moved to the back, but I reckon you'll still get bulbs. There's only November. And this is what they look like. Okay, I'm gonna pour them into the pot. Come out, come out. They look like lovely seed heads. Also that background noise is Bug and Bon. That's what they look like there. And it's said to plant them pointy side down. Sorry, my camera ain't zooming. Pointy side down. I'm just gonna cover them. And that tap is cold, I tell you. It was 4 degrees, hence my hair is huge today. It was 4 degrees at 7:30 this morning when I was out for my walk. I go out early some mornings because it gives me more energy, more passion, more footwork. Okay, the next little thing I have is, I'm gonna put these in a little pot as well. I don't know how to pronounce these. Chianodoxa. Chianodoxa. They look like little hyacinths. And Glory of the Snow, flowering height 10 centimetres. We're gonna put you in a little pot. And it just says plant 2 inches deep, 2 inches apart. I'm just gonna ram them into a pot. They prefer well-drained soil and full to partial sun. A great choice for naturalising, leaving it under deciduous trees and shrubs. Now here's a contradiction, my friends. Maybe because they're spring flowering, there'll just be more light under the trees because obviously there's no leaves on them. But well-drained soil in full to partial sun. Your trees don't, if it's under a tree, it's not going to get full sun, depending on where the light hits. But then again, these are spring bulbs, so the light does hit different in springtime. After the flowers have faded, leave the foliage untouched to encourage maximum growth for the following year. Fully hardy, these bulbs readily multiply and can be left undisturbed for several years. Should I maybe put them in the woodland border instead? I might actually put these outside the front door. Also, last year I did woodland bulbs. I got like a woodland set and I did them underneath the tree. So I'm not going to put any more in because it's pretty full. So yeah, my idea was I need to do some pots anyway if they're going to be display for the telly next year for spring garden segments. I want to have some daffodils in pots that I can bring. I do have loads of daffodils already in the borders and stuff. Anyway, enough waffling, let's do our garden jobs. While my ranunculus tubers are soaking in some cold water, I decided I needed to do the last of the dahlias and a little bit of a tidy up, not too much of a tidy up. I am just cutting back anything that the seed heads have gone off, cutting back the dahlias, and I'm starting to move the pots into the greenhouse. Hasn't been any frost yet, but there's been a couple of mornings where it has been very chilly, so I'm getting close to the wire if I want to save these plants so I have them for next year. You can probably notice that there is spring bulb foliage already shooting up, and this just gives me hope. Like, I know winter can be quite bleak, but when you see new growth and new shoots and spring bulbs starting to come up, this particular bed is an early variety. I don't know if that's the correct term, but what's in this bed flowers early, so there can be snowdrops from January. The tulips that are in here are also, they're lovely white ones, and they flower earlier than the other ones. They're kind of like a March time flowering, whereas the other beds are like April to May time, so they're a later flowering variety. I'm trimming back the foliage from the dahlias and I'm popping them into the greenhouse. If you're where I am and there's not as much frost, you could probably get away with mulching the top, maybe a bit of fleece. One thing I will say is pots can freeze up quicker, especially like on a frosty morning. It's also, some of your pots can crack as well with frost, even the ones that say they're like frost hardy or frost tolerant, and I have had ones that have said that and they've cracked. So if you have anything tender from summer, dahlias, pelargoniums, anything that the frost will kind of get, I would cut them back and pop them into a shed, a greenhouse, a sheltered area, even raise them up off the ground if you don't have somewhere to put them in, and protect them with a bit of fleece on top, just to protect them from good old Mr. Frost. Another thing to shelter things from is the good old Irish rain. So if you have lots of bulbs, they don't like to sit in heavy, wet soil, and this time of year it can be a bit stormy, a bit rainy, so people advise to raise your pots up. You can get like little pot feet, and it just helps the rain to freely drain out, especially if they're sitting on like a patio or a concrete base. And don't forget as well, if you're new to gardening, there is different growing zones, so if you find yourself watching a lot of garden videos, advice is going to be different depending on location as well. So Ireland is growing zone 8 to 9. I'm on the east coast where we get slightly less, well no, we get much less rain than the west, but even on a small island you can have like the different growing climates, and even in your garden compared to your neighbour's garden, you'll have different microclimates as well. So at the end of the day, you will know what's best for your garden. I love this time of year when the leaves start falling and you can see nests in the trees. I don't know if you can see that lovely nest there. I'm not sure who made that one. This tree here is evergreen, and there's definitely nests in it, but you never get to see too far up. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just tidying up around here because it's evergreen over here and I have lots of woodland plants. It doesn't really get many fallen leaves, like there's some, so I think I'm going to blow some of the leaves in here and just use it as a mulch. I chatted a lot in last week's video about leaf mould and using it as mulch, so I won't bore you, but if you're wondering why I'm blowing all of the leaves onto the grass, my method is I blow all of the leaves onto the grass, then I mow them, and then I will just take the basket off the lawnmower and spread it in the area where I want to mulch. I like to mow the leaves because it just breaks them down into nice thin pieces, and they just break down more easy, and I can get more leaves in an area, so I can pack them up nice and thickly and give it a thick mulch.
Cottage, both of us 8 years old. Crawford's
while it's raining outside, I've come in for some lunch. The camera never focuses on poor Buggy. She has gotten on amazing with her post-surgery recovery. Here it comes, Bon. Yeah, Bug has done amazing with her post-surgery recovery. So she was neutered a week ago, and it's so much easier with kittens. Blondie was a rescue, and she had a really bad procedure because she was older, and she was also underweight and stuff. But oh my God, kittens are just resilient. It's as if nothing has ever happened with poor Bug. And Bon is destroying the office. Look how big he's after getting. But one of the things I was worried about while Bug was recovering was they were obviously playing with each other, and they wrestle. And because Bug wasn't in much pain, she would wrestle with him. And I was like, oh my God, do not burst your stitches. But I did say it to the vet, and she said that they should be fine. Just if you're not in the house and you're worried about her wound, just separate them. But she's healed perfectly. So it's a little bit messy at the minute. Brought in the osteospermums. Gonna try and overwinter them and keep my voice down because I don't want to disturb the neighbours. Pots, dahlias. One or two in the front that probably need to be brought in. And then over here I have all my bulbs. Oh, I have a slug. Oh no. I popped the ranunculus in here. It said, do not water them until they're established. This is the sunniest spot in the greenhouse. So I'm hoping maybe in a few weeks, I'm not sure how long they'll take to get going, but I'm going to keep an eye on them. And if I see some signs of growth, then I can water them. But for now, just let them sit here and chill. And then these are the bulbs that need to be planted. You know what, next week, ring the garden police and say she has not planted her bulbs. The only thing is, I feel like the later you plant them, the later they'll come up. So these pots might come up around April time. So, but I have planted in December before. So I need to get going. Like, I have to be careful. I can't itch. I get itchy if I touch these. But you can see they're all starting to sprout. Some muscari in here growing. So I really need to do these. This is my display pot from Telly from, I think it was September, the end of September we were talking about spring bulbs. It's now November and I haven't planted any. I need to get these into the ground because, look, he's rooted. Or I could just stick the other half of the pot on. So yeah, I need to sort my act out, and I need to plant these bulbs. And these geraniums, the pelargoniums that are in these pots, they survive happily in the greenhouse. Even though the greenhouse, you can still get frost in a greenhouse, but I find they're grand, they don't mind it. So I'll prune them back in springtime, and I don't really water them in winter. Probably water them once a month so they don't completely dry out, but they like the bit of abuse that I give them.